is there any real reason that trains exist anymore? I came over here and got stuck, and I think that's all they're good for.
Just to get stuck, right?
Just to get stuck.
Yeah.
Or be loud whenever you're trying to sleep.
At 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yes,
yeah, absolutely.
exactly.
Yeah, so when I first moved here, during the summer, I actually lived in an RV behind Coach Perez's house. And it's right there on the train tracks.
Gosh.
And it was every morning, 5 o'clock, they were locking up, and
Yeah.
it was horrible. But after about a week, you get used to it. Yeah, you get used to it. I didn't think you would, but you do. But to answer your question, I have no clue why trains exist.
All right, guys, today we are here with head coach Cale Sanders after his first official win as a head coach. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
And it was homecoming night against Goddard, a team that you're very familiar with. Lots of things kind of all in one night, almost perfect, right? How did the momentum from the crowd and all of the things that were going on, do you think that contributed to the first quarter success, first half success?
Yeah, I think we came out on fire. I think we did exactly what we were wanting to do, and the crowd, that definitely helps, right? And I was kind of glad when I first stepped out, because I don't get to see all of the crowd coming in or nothing. I just see them, that first group that comes out, and I came out and I'm like, okay, yeah, they're back. Like, they did the same thing they did at Artesia. And,
sure.
And it's awesome how the people don't understand that crowd can change the outcome of a game. It really can.
100%.
And our kids were up for it. I think we had, buried the Artesia week, and we had a decent week of practice. I know we had talked about it. It wasn't, the first couple of days weren't that good, but they bounced back Wednesday, Thursday. And I just had a feeling going into that game that the kids were going to come out on fire. And I kind of helped out with the opening play call, the go ball right off the bat. Like, I just wanted to.
You guys scored it within 40 seconds? I think.
Yeah, it was 2 plays. It was 2 plays.
Yeah.
So there was where we threw the go ball, and there was a penalty, and then we scored on the next play, a little quick ball out to Bobby.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was part of it. I wanted to get out quick. Goddard, I promise you, wasn't ready for me to come out in trips and throw a go ball.
Sure.
Then they weren't ready for me to throw it out there. So I think we, kept them on their heels a little bit, and then defense goes out there and threes and outs them, and we get the ball back, and we drive down the field. We stall. It's like 4th and 2, I believe, and we decided to kick the field goal. And Ian kicks it and makes it, and then he gets the roughing the kicker. And I'm going to be aggressive. And I know it's, everyone can do my job better than me, right?
Sure.
But, people say, don't take points off the board, but we got a whole new fresh down.
Right.
If it was an extra point, I get it.
Were they not going to give you that, by the way?
No, they weren't. They were so confused. Yeah, they were. He was like, "I'm sorry, coach." He's like, "I thought that was an extra point." I'm like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, "Well, it's half the distance. Like, we get a fresh set of downs." He's like, "Yeah, I got you." So, but they weren't there at first. Like, I had to go out there and. Yeah, so
that would have been a clear moment where you go back on film and go, "How did I not argue that?"
Yeah.
So I'm glad. Obviously, I'm sure you're glad.
Yeah. I like arguing.
Yeah.
So I mean. It's just being football savvy and smart. And,
sure.
And, I think being aggressive again, I wanted the ball back. I wanted to score. And we did the very next play, and that's when Yulee fumbles in the end zone, which to do it again, I do it again every single time I had the choice. And Yulee's not going to put the ball on the ground. That was, he had 2 of them, but he also had 30 carries. We didn't shy away from him. I'm not worried about Yulee. If Yulee puts it on the ground, no one's mad about it, more mad than Yulee. So, yeah. So I just figured we got to jump up on them, and I think that energy in the crowd, and when you jump up early on someone, that crowd gets into it. It's good.
So I noticed that with the crowd and all of the stuff that's going out there, there's shirts. It's a whiteout. We ended up successfully pulling off the whiteout. Lots of white in the crowd, right? The white on white. What I noticed with all of this was, I guess more than ever, the logo. You changed it up this year, a little bit maybe last year as well. What goes into the rebranding of the Cavemen football program, and is that kind of a symbol for almost a new wave? Or
a little bit, yeah. And I'm not trying to take away from any traditions or pride of Ralphie and the C, because it's everywhere you look. You go on that campus, there's C's everywhere. I get it, right? So. But football-wise, and it's funny when I'm talking to these business owners in town, and they're like, these people want to wear what you're wearing on the sidelines. And we had kind of started wearing the silhouette on the sidelines a little bit last year, and people were like, they kept asking for it. And to me, the C, everyone has the C. Any high school team that starts with the C, Canyon, Clovis, it all has the C, the Cincinnati Reds. So I love it. I like it. It's clean. It's simple.
It is.
Looks good on a helmet. Looks good on a T-shirt too. So I just think that it's kind of a turning of the page a little bit. Hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. So we saw a big crowd for Artesia. We saw a big crowd for Goddard. How do you think that the Cavemen can continue getting crowds like this throughout the rest of the season? We don't come back for a few weeks. I believe it's September 15th, next home game, right? Mm-hmm. So how do we ensure that, maybe we can have a big crowd again? Maybe not that magnitude, but close.
Well, it's kind of what we go back to what you said before last week about just having the people come out and support and be there and help and just showing up, like not giving up on the kids. So we got 2 road trips. We got to go to Volcano Vista on Saturday. So right. we're actually leaving on Friday, going to stay the night. It's an 11 o'clock kickoff. So that'd be a 3:30 start from, I'm not doing that.
No way.
Yeah. So we're going to treat that one like a playoff game. It sets up just like a playoff game. It's usually an early Saturday game. It's usually a long ways away.
Yeah.
And we're traveling. So it's going to be good for our kids to kind of get that travel and checking in a hotel room and eating breakfast and having an itinerary and going by it. We got a bunch of youngins, so it's good, right? It could be really good. It could be really bad.
Yeah.
But, it's going to be good. So and then the next week we go to Clovis. So we're coming back on the 15th against Roswell High. And I just, if we can split those games and keep some momentum going, I think we'll be all right.
Sure.
I think just the crowd seems to go away some when the losing bracket gets larger. When the L's start to pile up a little bit.
Right.
And that's kind of what I was saying to you guys. Just don't give up on these guys. Like, be here, support them, love on them, give them everything you got, because the last 2 games have been awesome.
Yes, they have.
And it helps us. It truly does help us. Like, anything you can do to help. So so when we come back, the Roswell High game will be a military appreciation. So we're going to honor some military and do that whole military appreciation thing, which is really cool. So hopefully that'll get some people out too.
So with Volcano Vista being a midday game on a Saturday, the itinerary is going to look different than a normal game. You mentioned that you don't want to get up at 3 o'clock, travel, be stiff. How did you tailor the itinerary to not just preparation but bonding as well? Yeah,
so we built in an hour, and we do this throughout the week too. So they break up into groups, and it's not just position groups, it's just groups. And a lot of times we just say, go in that room and watch film or do whatever. Like, we don't give them a directive, and we just kind of give them their own time to be their own. And then, of course, we encourage those guys beyond the program to hang out, to go. That's what we told them Friday night. You go have fun, but go do it together. Go hang out. Go to someone's house, swim in the pool, hang out, whatever they do.
Yeah.
Do it together. Be smart about it, right? But do it together. So we just encourage those guys to hang out and honestly become that family, because we can try to build all that stuff, but if it's not genuine and from them, and they don't want to do it, it's not any good. So, and we just got to build that culture of wanting to do that. If you want something, you're going to go do it and get it done. So, if they want to be that family, then they'll do that as well.
Sure. What kind of team is Volcano Vista? What are we looking at?
Solid. They are a solid football team. I don't know what the rankings come out yet, but they passed the eye test. So which we saw them at NIMI at 7-on-7, and like I said, they had all of them walking around. They 2 platoon. They got 100 kids, and they should, because they probably have 3,500 in their high school too.
Oh yeah.
But so offensively they're pretty solid. I don't think they're as explosive as they were last year. That Haskinsville kid was an absolute stud. We had trouble keeping him in the pocket, and he was throwing the ball around. He ended up actually going to NIMI, I believe. Solid quarterback, but he still got his receiving core, so they're solid. And O-line is all looks like a D1 O-line.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, I bet.
But defensively, and this is, I think this is where their strong suits at, is on the defensive side of the ball. So they have, I believe it's 9 of the 11 starters are seniors.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So they have 1 sophomore and 1 junior. So if there's a sophomore in a group of that many seniors, like,
oh, he's good.
Yeah, he's probably
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah.
And they're big up front, and it's a Rocky Long 3-4 Lobo, confusing, different looks. They kind of let and they have one really good linebacker, number 44. You can't miss him. They kind of move him around all over the place, so we're going to have to definitely make sure we scheme for that and scheme away from that. And we'll scheme to him too on some stuff, but they're solid across the board. So it's going to be a really good test for us.
Last Friday against Goddard, I deemed the play of the game to be Robert Castaneda's catch in the back of the end zone. Can you walk me through it from your point of view?
Yeah, we were in that stack stuff like we talked about, just spreading them out a little bit, and so the play before that, I noticed that they had came up and they got into cover 1, and and watching film all week, anytime we got inside the 20, they would cover 1 us. So. They had a really good corner, and then they had one that was not so good, and he happened to be on that side, and it was just a check with me at the line, and I just told him, we're throwing a fade ball, and Bobby's probably one of the best at it. I've had a lot of kids with that fade ball, and he's one of the best at it. So yeah, we're gonna throw it up and get Cason put a great ball. I mean, it's great,
really did.
Great ball. And then we ran a great route, and he stuck his one hand out there and caught it one-handed, and you can't be too mad at him, but you just got to be like, dude, put 2 hands on it. I always tell the kids, there's not a place on your body that this hand can go that this hand can't touch. So you can always get 2 hands on the ball.
Sure.
But he caught it. It was touchdown. Cannons go off. Confetti goes off. And I think at that point we were good. And we kind of stalled after that a little bit.
Yeah.
We with the Yulee fumble, and then that one, we should have been 21-0 like that.
Yeah.
And I think they really would have folded, and it would have been a much different game. I think we kind of stalled a little bit, and I think we got it back in the fourth quarter and rock and roll. But we gave them a cheap one at the end, and we that drive they had coming out of the half was a good drive. They got to the old Goddard ways, and they got in the bone, and they just tink 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 tink
chipped away.
Yeah. So I think our kids responded good. Fourth quarter we did the same thing. So
I did notice that. One of the things that you guys have only done once, I believe, in the 2 games is a field goal attempt, right? Is that something that you're going to keep working into your offense when it calls for it, or is it kind of something that's like very last option?
No, I wouldn't say it's last option. Ian kicked that ball, and it's funny because Ian can't make one in practice.
Oh, really?
He's a gamer.
Wow.
He's at practice. He doesn't catch passes. He doesn't block. Like, it's like, what are you doing, Ian? But then you turn the lights on and they go. But he's the same way kicking. He kicked a long one. I don't know if you remember or not, but at Farmington last year too. And so yeah, I don't have any doubts if I say kick it that Ian's going to do it. And we got a young one too, young kicker that's coming up. He's not ready yet, but he's going to be a weapon for us.
Okay.
He's definitely going to be a weapon. So I'll take 3 points whenever I can get them.
Okay.
Because sometimes that's a big. It's big. Yeah, it's real big. So not a lot of high school teams can just kick field goal.
Right.
This ain't.
We've seen some extra points not go anyone's way.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Our teams are struggling with their kicker this year. And then of course we've missed a handful of them too. But it's a big emphasis on me on extra points and 2-point conversions. We probably work 2-point conversions twice a week, live situational type stuff with live against our defense. Because that 2-point conversion, Farmington just sits raw.
Oh, I bet.
And to go back, hindsight 2020, right? We probably shouldn't have chased points. But if we just kicked and kicked and kicked, it would have been okay. But we didn't. So, but when we call for a 2-point conversion, offensive minded, that's got to be 100%. You got to get it. You got to have that set of plays, and you got to be good at it. And they got to be a little different, right? So when we do go for 2 and we need it, you'll see some stuff that's like, what is this? and it'll be like, okay, cool, it worked, that's good. But
yeah, I'm excited to see that.
yeah.
Ulysses Mendoza, absolute unit. He's been heading the run game. He's pretty much the run game right now. What kind of leader is he both on and off the field, if he is?
He's the ultimate leader. And just to go back to that, and I don't know if these guys know, but he carried the ball 29 times. 29 times for 175 yards, 2 touchdowns,
Pretty
1
awesome.
catch for 23 yards. But he's that quiet. He doesn't say a word. Like, I'm like, Yuli, say something. Like, we have 9 to 10 seniors. Like, I need you to step up and talk. But that's just not him. And that's okay, right? But he is a lead by example in the weight room, in the field house, on the field. Like, he's just a dog. And
Sure.
I mean, like I said, I can't say enough about him, like, good things, because he was more mad about, the fumbles than I didn't even have to say nothing to him.
Yeah.
Just like, you'll be all right. And we just we're going to keep feeding you. Don't worry about that. And he graded out the best that he's ever graded, which, so we, as a coaching staff, we grade out every single play. And
Okay.
we get a grade. And so he graded out a 92%. And I haven't had it, and I don't think anybody was I think we might have had a couple low 80s last year.
And that was the
But
best
92% is phenomenal for a
Wow.
running back. Yeah, it's really good. Like, a really good grade, like, for my quarterback. If you're in the 70s, you had a pretty good game. Like, so for him to grade out a 92, like, people don't realize, you fumbled twice. That was the best game I've seen Yuli play in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Just tough. He got hit hard a couple times. That number 6, that free safety, he was good. He came downhill and he brought the stick when he got there. But
Yeah.
Yuli did good. I'm not worried about him putting the ball on the ground. It's not an issue. But yeah, those kids just follow him. They lead. And if he does say something, people are listening.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
If he talks, it's like, yes, sir, do what Yuli says. But his more is just by example and just leading this football team on the ground.
Did you see improvement from Cale Sanders? I think he went over 50% on completions, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he was 10 for 18. 10 for 18. I think it was 180 something, 84, something like that. 2 touchdowns. We're not going to aerate it, throw it 50 times a game. When we do throw it, it's going to be precise. And, we're going to take our shots, so that's probably going to lower his passing percentage. But, his improvement from Artesia to Goddard was huge. Like, you could just see it in his face. Like, he was a different kid.
Really?
And I think I saw, that limelight first start, get all that kind of stuff out of the way. We kind of made sure that we, game plan to where we weren't trying to, fit balls in little windows and make hard throws or hard decisions or reads or anything like that. We just kind of said, okay, we're going to throw a fade ball. It's step, catch, and throw. Or we're going to throw a little now ball, step, catch, and throw. Like, let these guys go do work for you.
Yeah.
So he did good. So we went, he didn't have any interceptions this game. So, he's a smart kid. He's super smart. So he knows this offense pretty close to him. He understands what I want. So I don't have to, call every single thing. I can just call the play. And instead of having to tag 3 or 4 dudes, he goes ahead and does that for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really excited because I get him for another year too.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's good.
Okay, so this segment is called Story Time with Coach Sanders. You don't have to name names or anything if you don't want to, but what do you have in the memory bank of craziest game moment you've seen or been a part of?
I got 2. I'll do one as a player and one as a coach.
Okay.
So as a junior playing at Goddard, we were solid, we were good, and semifinals we draw Mayfield. So if you know Mayfield back in the late 90s, they were Studley. They were good. As Bradley's days, like, they were really good. So we were back and forth with Bradley, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So we're down by 6. No, I'm sorry. We're down by 7. And we have the ball, and it's like 20 seconds left. And we run a couple plays. 4 seconds left. It's like 4th down. And we actually ran this against Artesia, but we ran an Aggie bounce pass.
And, really?
Yeah, we ran Aggie bounce pass. We put trips on one side. We bounced the ball back there. And, And a little freshman quarterback, our backup quarterback, we stuck him out in the trips, and he threw it, and I was on the backside. Everyone stopped, and it was crazy because back in those days, Aggie Memorial would get full. I don't know how much people Aggie Memorial can hold, but it was jam-packed.
Yeah.
And as soon as that ball hit the ground, you could hear the entire crowd. You could just feel it. It was like, all these Mayfield
because they thought it was an incomplete pass.
Right? And then all of a sudden, he lets it go, and the entire stadium was like just quiet. And then so I catch the ball, and the backside free safety, we make contact at the 2, and it's kind of like in the movies, right? It was like,
oh my gosh.
And we fell into the end zone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And there's a bad side of this story too, but we kicked the extra point, sent it in overtime. We go into triple overtime.
Wow.
And we go for it on 2. That was back before you had to start going for it. And we ran speed option to the left, and we got stuffed. And I watched Mayfield cheer and go to the state championship game and win it that year. But it was a really cool
but not
moment.
Without trying.
Yeah, it was really cool because it was just that dire Hail Mary type deal. It was really cool to be part of. It was really cool to catch it and be that guy.
Yeah.
But then honestly, as a coach, it's not nothing crazy story, but we went up to Aztec in a semifinal game, and if you know that part of the world, it gets pretty hairy in November, and it got cold, and a little blizzard came through, and I got a picture of it. I'll send you. You might put it on there, but you couldn't see, you could barely see the kids.
Really?
But there was, if something went to the other side of the field, if we ran a sweep or something that way, we'd have to ask the box what happened, where they at, because they were on that side. And like they could see it, so we had to communicate. It was the craziest game. It was one of my coolest moments, coaching moments. It was a really cool game, and we ended up winning, go to state championship game. So it was a cool moment.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, thank you, Coach, once again. Appreciate you for being here, and we look forward to seeing what happens against Volcano Vista and Albuquerque, and hopefully the road trip goes well.
It'll be a good test for us. Our kids they're going to go fight. I promise you that.
All right, thank you.
All right, but